Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer. Today we're here for yet another Civilization 6 Rise and Fall New Loser Spotlight, where today we are looking at Poundmaker of the Cree. So Poundmaker's unique ability in Civilization 6 is Favorable Terms, and what it does is it makes it so that all of your alliance types provide shared visibility. In addition to this, you get some bonuses to trade routes. You get trade routes grant Poundmaker +1 food in the sending city per camp or pasture in the receiving city. In addition to that, trade routes grant Poundmaker +1 gold in the receiving city per camp or pasture in the receiving city. So this is it's a pretty good ability, especially in the early game, due to the fact that Poundmaker gets a trader whenever he researches pottery. So the additional food and gold from your trade routes can make it so that you can grow to quite high populations and get a decent amount of gold fairly quickly, especially if you get a good spawn that allows you to have a lot of camps and pastures. So favorable terms can be quite good. The alliance type, or like the alliance bonus that gives you shared visibility, it's good, but it's not great. It doesn't really affect that much, but it's certainly not a bad thing to have. The civilization ability for the Cree is Okihtcitaw, and what it does is it makes it so that you get +1 trade route capacity and you get a free trader with pottery. In addition to that, unclaimed tiles within 3 tiles of a city, of a Cree city, come under Cree control whenever a trader first moves onto them. So this ability can actually be really strong in the early game, assuming that you have some tiles that you need. It allows you to get just a lot of tile growth really fast, because you can just send your trade routes between 2 of your own cities, claim a lot of the tiles in between. Maybe that gets you an extra luxury or an extra strategic or bonus resource or something like that. So Okihtcitaw is actually quite a good ability. With these abilities in mind, though, let's move on to the Cree's unique unit. So the Cree's unique ability in Rise and Fall is the Okihtcitaw, and what the Okihtcitaw does is it is a special unit that replaces the Scout, and it has a melee strength of 20, and it also receives a free promotion. So the Okihtcitaw, interestingly enough, having a melee strength of 20, which is up +10 from a Scout, is actually very good, because that puts it at the same strength as a warrior. So your Okihtcitaws are effectively the same as warriors. I'm not sure if there would even be much of a reason to make warriors instead of Okihtcitaws, aside from future upgrades, because obviously your scouts will upgrade into rangers and your warriors will upgrade into like swordsmen, and then even further beyond that. But Okihtcitaws are actually pretty strong early game units. You can really use them to clear out barb camps pretty fast. If you want to go for the really early game war, you could spam Okihtcitaws and just try to raid people. It's not the best idea, because since they are scout units, they don't get like combat bonuses from their promotions. But nonetheless, they are actually really strong units, and the fact that they get that free promotion allows you to scout much faster, and it'll allow you to get more goodie huts and thus more era score. So overall, the Okihtcitaw, I think, is pretty good. As far as unique tile improvements for the Cree go, we have the Mekewap, which actually is pretty strong. It unlocks with pottery, and it provides +1 production and +1 housing. And in addition to that, it provides +1 food from every 2 adjacent bonus resources, and +1 gold from every adjacent luxury resource. And in addition to that, you cannot build 2 Mekewaps next to each other, much like Egypt's sphinxes. And the Mekewap actually doesn't stop improving there, because later in the game, you get +1 additional food from every bonus resource with conservation, and +1 additional gold from every 2 adjacent luxury resources with cartography, and +1 additional production and housing with civil service. So with all this stuff in mind, the Mekewap actually is a pretty strong tile improvement. It's nice that you get it so early, and depending on your spawn, if you have, like a lot of bonus or luxury resources, you can actually get quite a bit of food or gold from it. The production's also nice, especially in the early game, maybe if you want to build wonders or units or anything like that. And the housing is nice as well, because it'll synergize with your food that you're getting from your trade routes to just allow your cities to grow nice and big. So overall, I think the Mekewap is quite a good unique tile improvement. Definitely one of the better ones in Rise and Fall. So with all this stuff in mind, let's move on to the strengths and weaknesses of the Cree. For the first strength that I can think of for the Cree, it is that they have a very strong early game, and perhaps honestly the best early game in Civ 6. Just the fact that they get that trader so early and for free, and they get food and gold from it possibly, that's very nice. And in addition to that, they also get their unique tile improvement very early on, which just helps to bolster their early game strength even more. So I think that the Cree definitely earns some points for having one of the strongest early games out of all the Civs in Civ 6. Another strength of theirs is that they can play tall very well, and playing tall in Civ 6 was something that was almost unheard of until Rise and Fall came out, because now with governors and all that, it actually is a moderately viable strategy, and the Cree are someone who can definitely pull it off very well. So you have your trade routes to provide you with food. You have your Mekewaps to provide you with housing, so that allows you to grow your cities nice and large. In addition to that, you have your trade routes that'll be grabbing tiles, so so you don't really have to worry about waiting a long time for your tile borders, for your city borders to grow nice and large. Like, you can actually like help the process along a little bit yourself. So I think the Cree they can play tall very well. They can play wide as well, which gives them a little bit of variety. So I think that's definitely a strength of the Cree. As far as their weaknesses go, the major weakness I see with the Cree is that they're really not geared towards a particular victory, because their bonuses give them food and gold and bonuses to alliances and some tiles and whatnot. But it really doesn't provide anything like culture or science or religion bonuses or anything like that. So for that reason, I think that they're really kind of just unfocused, much like the Netherlands in a way. And in addition to that, they don't have, like, after they have their great early game, they don't have the best like mid or late game. So that's just something to keep in mind if you happen to play the Cree in Civ 6. With all this in mind, though, let's move on and give them their rankings. So if you're new to these videos, whenever I do these rankings, I give each civilization a ranking in each of the victory types, minus score, and an overall ranking as well. Rankings go from S to F, with S being the highest and F being the worst. So let's get right into it with the Cree. So for Domination, I think the Cree deserve a D in Domination. And some of you may be like, what? No, they don't. But I think they do, just because not only do they not really have anything to help them win a Domination victory, but the fact that they like to have a lot of trade routes going out and they like to have alliances kind of hinders their ability to play Domination even that much more, because you don't want to have a lot of warmonger penalties on you that are going to make the AI not be friends with you or not, declare war on you, and then you can't trade with them. So I think it's actually harmful for the Cree to try to play Domination, just because of the fact that it kind of almost negates some of your civilization abilities. So for that reason, I think the Cree deserve a D in Domination. As far as science go, though, I think they deserve a B in science. They're definitely not bad at science. That peaceful playstyle definitely suits itself towards science. You can grow your cities nice and large, which means you can have citizens that are producing a lot of science. And in addition to that, the Mekewaps providing production will just help you in the later game to build space parts. Sure, it's not going to be that much, but 2 more production on a tile, that can at least add a little bit. So for that reason, I think the Cree deserve a B. In culture, I think the Cree deserve a B as well, for much of the same reason as science, that they like the peaceful play style. Their extra production can help them build wonders, and just being friends with everybody is just going to kind of help, because you'll have trade routes to everybody. Hopefully, you'll have trade routes to everybody, which can help boost your tourism output. And for that reason, I think they deserve a B. I don't think they deserve an A, just because they don't have anything that gives them extra culture or extra tourism, but they're certainly not bad in culture. And as far as religion go, I think they, once again, deserve a B in religion, for much of the same reason as with culture and science, that they like the passive play style, and having a religion can even just help them get bonuses in other areas. Maybe if they want to get one of the beliefs that gives them science or culture or anything like that. They like to play nice and peaceful. You can go for the early game faith, which they have a strong early game to begin with, so that can just help bolster that even a little bit more. So for that reason, I think the Cree deserve a B in religion. And for their overall score, I think they, take a guess, deserve a B. Just because they're a pretty good civ. They're definitely not a bad civ. They are, however, unfocused. They're not really geared towards winning any victories. They definitely have their strengths. They can play tall really well. They have that super good early game, and they do get a lot of bonuses from a lot of different things. But just because of their lack of focus and the fact that you really don't want to be at war, like if you're at war, you can seriously screw yourself up as the Cree. So for that reason, I think they deserve a B. They're definitely not bad, but they're not great. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. One thing I do have a bit of an announcement. We are doing a Civilization 6 giveaway. Unfortunately, it's not Rise and Fall. It's just the base game of Civ 6. But info for that will be in the description below. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the video below, just stating why you want to win the copy of Civ 6 or why you think you should win a copy of Civ 6. So if you're interested in that, feel free to take part. But thank you everyone for watching. I've been the Saxy Gamer. Goodbye.